Hello and welcome back to my wee channel. So today we're bidding on a 2016 Fiat 500 Lounge from Copart Salvage Auction. So as per usual, just going through the salvage auction photographs here, and we can see the damage on the near side. So damage to the near side rear quarter, which at this stage I think will repair. Near side door, which probably replace that. Near side front wing, which will replace. No airbags off, nice clean looking interior. Really quite a nice model this, the lounge with the sort of tartan interior. Looks fresh under the bonnet with a relatively fresh looking battery, and we can see in the pictures there that the car's running, there's no faults on the dash, and it's done 37,000 miles. So again, just taking a look at that damage, quite low down on the quarter. Door looks quite bad, but we can replace that, and a bit of damage inside the sill there, probably where the door's pushed in and sort of damaged the sill. Again, we'll be able to repair that. Run and drive in one key, that's what that means in the windscreen there. Comes with a tyre kit. Run and drive. Looking at the MOT history, it's MOT to February 2026, and the MOT I had was advisory free, so that's fine. And then there was quite a fair bit of advisories the previous MOT, which presumably they all got dealt with at 31,000 miles. So hopefully this car's been relatively well cared for. And that advisory free MOT means that I'm going to get a relatively straightforward MOT once I've repaired the car. So back looking at those pictures again, just making sure that I'm happy, I know what I'm buying, and just looking at estimated retail value on this car. Had it not been damaged, it'd be worth £6,500. So based on my sort of 30% rule, I'm looking to pay round about £2,000 for this car, plus auction fees. So outbid there at £1,700. Quite close to what I'm prepared to bid on the car. Car's on reserve as well, so even if you're the highest bidder, it doesn't mean you've won the car. They go back to the seller of the car and ask them if they're going to accept your highest bid. So just because I might win at the hammer price, it doesn't mean the car's mine. And there I'm the highest bidder at £1,950, but it's still on reserve, so I'm not definitely getting this car until we hear back from Copart. So £1,950, we're going to win this car for £1,950. It's pretty much at the limit of what I want to pay for it.
Sold on approval.
And there you go, we've won it, sold on approval. And then there was a bit of toing and froing. They came back with a figure, we went back with a figure, and then I think ultimately from memory, I said in an earlier video that we paid 2-1, but I actually think we paid about £2,000 for this car. And here it is, back at the workshop, so an initial walk round, and it actually looks quite a clean, shiny car on the offside for sure. You know, the wheels look nice and clean, it's shiny, it's a nice model. It's in that lovely coral pink, which, as you know, I'm a fan of that colour. It really is quite a nice, bright, shiny colour. The camera never really seems to do it justice. It looks more orange in real life than it does on the camera. I think it looks a bit more red under the camera, but as if you've not seen this colour before, check it out. It is a really nice colour. And there's that damage, near side door, near side rear quarter, quite a sort of awkward repair on the near side quarter. Where it's hit it, it's went right through the swage line that's there, so you know we're going to have to actually recreate that swage line, and there's sort of a lot of high spots in it. It does look a bit awkward, and in retrospect, maybe I should have replaced this quarter, but we have a go at repairing it, and you can decide throughout the video, and by all means leave a comment. Should we have replaced it, or did the repair turn out okay? Again, no airbags off, and 37,000 miles, quarter tank of fuel, facelifted stereo with Bluetooth and It really is quite a nice wee model, pan roof. I noticed the antenna there's a bit bent, we straighten that out later on. So there they are, cars on the ramp, we get a better look at the damage, and yeah, it is kind of an awkward repair. Probably the limit as to my own personal ability when it comes to panel work and filler work, but we'll have a go at it and see how we get on. Definitely replace that door. I've got a door in stock, and there I have. I've marked it up with a special pen that just wipes off, but it's just marking out where the damage is, so that once it's all sort of once we start the repair, and gets all dusty and stuff, it's hard to see, but just getting it clear in my own mind where the bulk of the damage is, and getting a plan together. And there's that swage line on the other side, so I've just took some measurements as to the height of that swage line, and used masking tape just to mark it on the near side, and I've used a black marker there to mark exactly where the swage line is, and basically base my whole repair process around that swage line. So here I am, I've got a GYS dent puller, and I've welded on some keys, and I'm using what they call a bridge to use the pulling power of the bridge to pull on the keys and pull out that shape. Literally just below the swage line is the point of impact, so you're trying to apply the equal and opposite force to the impact, using the bridge, and sort of starting to reshape that sort of nasty dent. It's quite an awkward thing to use this when you just on your own. It's not heavy, but it's awkward, and try to get it positioned right. It's always a bit of a chore, but we get there, and you can see it gradually pulling out that panel and pulling out the sort of the bulk of the impact. So just using the slide hammer on a few of the individual keys just to get that edge, and again, if you look closely, you can see it just popped out there. And then using the sliding hammer off camera, I just started to reshape some of the damage and pull out the edge of that quarter to the door. As I said, ultimately we'll replace the door, but we'll use the original door for the time being, just to get the rough shape there. And then on with the first skim of filler, again being mindful to that swage line that we're trying to recreate. So I think I used some masking tape here just to recreate the swage line, and then fill it up to the swage line and get the first sort of skim of filler, and then likewise used the masking tape to get the first skim of filler above the swage line, so you can almost see where the swage line is there. So that sort of defined line is there, and we work to that now, trying to reshape it and get it back to the best we can. And again, there you'll see me using some masking tape on the swage and just sanding up to that masking tape line. If you'd never got that swage line back into that panel, it would be dead obvious that you had used filler, and it just wouldn't look right. There's a swage line runs right along the bottom of that door and into the quarter, so we want it all to look perfect once we're finished. So that's just another skim of U-Pol Fantastic body filler. That's the body filler that I use, and then all rubbed down with, probably at this stage, 80 grit, just getting the basic shape. It's starting to take shape. There's a few high spots in there that we can knock down, and you know, but we're just trying to sort of get the basic shape, and then on with a coat of what's called dolphin glaze, which is another U-Pol product. The Americans call this icing. I think it's actually quite a good description, because it's literally like icing a cake. It's a very thin coat, and it just fills in imperfections and pinholes that are in the original filler. Really nice product, sands really easy, and you can see now that the quarter really is starting to take shape. All those high spots are away, and we've got the shape. A friend of mine that's in this trade used to say sometimes you need to make your own shape to a certain extent. You know, there's a bit of skill involved, and just what you don't want is all sort of high spots poking through. just as long as it looks like it should. It's hard to explain what I mean, but so there we are. We're on with a brand new aftermarket front wing as well, and a second hand near side door that I had in stock. It's got a few dents in it, this door, but it'll do the job. And you can see that it's not damaged, and I've put on some more of that U-Pol dolphin glaze just to refine that swage line. I'm obviously not 100% happy with it at this stage, and I've used some guide coat and trying to get the shape back. And then that's us all sort of finished and masked up, and it's still on the ramp, and we're going to go on with a few coats of 2K primer. It's a Reberlo 41 product, high build 2K primer, and I've repaired a bit of rust at the front of the sill there as well. So we'll go on with three good coats of this high build primer, and we'll see how it looks once we've got the primer on there. It never looks that great until the primer goes on, and sometimes you think it's alright and you put the primer on and it shows up other areas that you've missed, and it is quite an involved job doing a filler repair job of this size. And as I said at the start, maybe the quickest option would have been just to replace this quarter, but we're trying to keep the cost down, and I like a challenge, so we've had a go at repairing it, and you can make a judgment at the end as to whether we've done a decent job of it. So on with the first coat of 2K primer over that repair, and then just catching that little bit of rust. All Fiat seem to rust here. I don't know what it is. It's just obviously like the wheel chucks up dirt and stones, and they always seem to have a wee rusty edge there, which is, you're not going to leave that if you're painting that whole side. You're not going to leave a bit of rust there. So we repair that as well. So on with another coat of 2K primer here. And you can see it's actually, the repair in my opinion actually looks okay, and this primer's really thick. You can see it goes on like the old-fashioned Artex. It's so thick, and gives you a really good build. So just take my time, and you can see there, see if you can spot the deliberate mistake. I'll point it out to you at the end, but there's not a deliberate mistake, there's a schoolboy error there that I've missed a wee dent. I'll point it out. There you go. How annoying is that? You get all that repair done and looking great, and you've missed one wee stupid dent, which I'm obviously going to have to go back in and refine, but hey ho. So on with another coat. I think at this stage I'm kidding myself on, thinking I'll lose that dent with some primer, but I have to go back in there and sort that dent once this stage of the primer's done. That's so annoying. I'm so annoyed at myself missing that dent, but that's what it is. So you can see just how thick I'm putting that primer on. Horribly thick. But get it on there, and it gives you something to block down. Again, piling the primer onto that dent, thinking I might be able to block it out, but telling you now, I can tell just by looking at it that it's never going to block out. That'll need repaired. But other than that, I think the repair's actually looking pretty good at this stage. And then just covering up that little bit of rust, getting a bit of build on there. And then I think I'm just using what's left in the gun here just to build up that primer coat even more. Never go any more than sort of 3 or 4 coats of this, because it can start to crack and cause you problems. 3 coats is really the kind of maximum. But this is a healthy repair, so a 4th sort of coat using up what's left in the gun's not going to do us any harm. I'm going to block most of it off anyway. So there we are. What I've got on here is a guide coat, which is literally just a black powder, and you put that over the whole repair and then you block it down. So I block my repairs down with 320 wet or dry, used dry and just block over the whole repair. And I don't think it's looking too bad at that stage. There is a bit round about the arch there that I'm not happy with, and I go back in and I block that again, and I've got the light on it, and you can see it. I can see it anyway. I just wasn't 100%, but I managed to block it out and get it looking perfect, just in that one sitting. And obviously I went back in and repaired that little dent that I missed as well. So here we are. We're on with the painting the front wing, which is an aftermarket part, just in e-coat, and then I choose at that stage just to paint the inside of the door as well in the colour. So we've basically got the inside of the door painted and the front wing painted, and we're going to paint these. So this is just a coat of wet and wet primer. It's an HB body product. Mix it 411 with the HB body fast hardener, and it's just a light coat of primer that sort of takes care of any rub throughs or any areas or nooks or crannies that you can't get into. Just makes it all a uniform finish, ready for the 2-pack direct gloss paint. So just getting a nice even coat over the whole inside of the door. I'll take this opportunity just to thank you for watching the channel. Obviously we're just new here, we're trying to build it up. I really appreciate if you could like and subscribe and share it with your like-minded friends, and try and get the word out, and hopefully we can build the channel and build on our content. So please just take this a little minute at this stage just to like and subscribe. I really do appreciate it, thank you. So just on with a second coat of wet and wet primer. Just I think I want on with a second coat here from memory. The first coat sort of almost reacted up a wee bit, so I went on with a second coat just to get it all nice and even. I can't remember why or what happened, but I think the first coat on the inside of the door certainly just had a few sort of what you would call fish eyes, or sort of areas that I wasn't happy with, so I went in with a second wetter coat of wet and wet, just to get it all sort of perfect before I went on with the colour. I mean, you might argue it's just the inside of a door, but you know, you want to do everything that you want to do it to the best of your ability. If it means putting an extra coat on or just spending a little bit extra on paint, then so be it, do it. You want these cars to be as good as they possibly can be once they're ready for sale. And I just put on a second coat of wet and wet onto the front wing as well. So definitely, I painted this a wee while ago, but from memory, definitely some went on with the first coat of that wet and wet, so I went on with a second. And then here we are with the direct gloss finished coat. So this is a Pro Spray direct gloss product. It's at the cheaper end of the market, if you like, but I actually find it quite good. It's I've got a Pro Spray solvent scheme, and some of their colour matches aren't great, but this colour match, which quite surprisingly, the colour match for this coral pink is really good. It's edge to edge, so quite happy to do it in Pro Spray. And again, you'll see at the end, it leaves a nice gloss flat finish. So yeah, Pro Spray, check it out. It's a Sherman Williams product, the sort of more budget end of the marketplace. I can't remember off the top of my head how much it works out a litre, but it is at the cheaper end of the market. So again, just a first coat onto that front wing. Just a nice even, I've said it before, that nice even sort of grip coat. You're not looking for a show finish at this stage, just a nice sort of dry. You actually want to leave it kind of dry, so that the next coat sticks better. It's a good way sort of avoiding runs. Just leave the first coat dry, and then the second coat that's wetter has something to grip to, and then it tends not to run. and just again catching all those edges. Don't miss any edges. Focus on your edges first and then spray the main panel. And this is me on with a second coat, leaving it just that little bit wetter and more of a sort of gloss finish. This is the finish that you're leaving. You know, that if you don't want to polish the car, then get it as good as you can with your second, and if you feel it needs it, go on with a third coat as well. So hope you agree the inside of that door is actually looking really good. It's like a brand new door. We've got all this sort of nooks and crannies and edges, and probably too good for the inside of a door, but why dumb it down? Just do everything to the best of your ability, and then you know it's right. And on with another coat onto that front wing. This is the final coat of direct gloss, so I count that as 3 coats. And just leaving a really nice gun finish, no dirt, nibs, runs. Get it as spot on as we can and just have a right good look at it. Make sure there's no any dry areas or areas that you missed. And then that's us complete. Just a walk into the booth once they're painted, and yeah, looking the part. As I say, the camera doesn't capture this colour quite that well. It's hard to describe, but it's not a red. It is more of a sort of salmon pink. I really like this colour. It's really nice when you see it outside, and the sort of, even at the end you'll see a walk around video, and it's quite a drab, damp, horrible day, and this colour really pops. It is a really nice colour. I like it. So again, just having a wee look around that painted door, looks good. Back to the wing. Yep, nice and shiny. No dirt, no nibs, no runs, won't need polished, gun finish, happy with that. Those that have watched previous videos will know I hate polishing, so if I can get a nice clean gun finish, I'd rather put the effort in at the start than be polishing it to death at the end. I hate that. I almost think when you polish a car, it loses something the minute you hit it with the polisher. I'd just rather see a nice factory, as close to factory finish as I can get, and not have to polish it. So on with the outside of the door here, so there's a few rub throughs, so we're going to go on with some wet and wet primer on the outside of the door as well. There's quite a few repairs on that door, but it was a door I got cheap, and it was worth repairing the dents for the price that I paid for the door. I think it was pennies. It was a decent enough door, it just had a few dents in it, so on with a coat of wet and wet primer, just taking in all those little rub throughs, and so it basically all has that nice even coat. And by the way, it also has that same ground colour that the front wing has now as well, so it'll all match perfectly. So just a nice even coat over the whole door. And then here we are on with, again, that Pro Spray Direct Gloss. First coat. Catching all the edges, even the bits that you don't see, catch all them the best you can. And then a nice wet coat. And by the way, my booth wasn't working at this stage, so I was spraying here at 13 degrees. So we're spraying with caution here. We're spraying at the sort of temperatures that you would be spraying in your own garage, or I had no heat, the burner was faulty, so, and I had to get on with at least some work at this stage, so decided to get on and paint the door, even though the heat wasn't working. so it's a bit chilly, so we go a bit conny. And then on with another coat. Again, you'll see the doors actually starting to look really good, nice and straight. No, all those dings and dents that were in it are out of it. Quite a nice flat finish. Those that are interested, I use Iwata spray gun, so this is a WS400 spray gun, and again I can't sing the praises more of these guns. As soon as I got these guns, it really unlocked something in my spraying, and they're just cracking guns. They just do what they do, they never clog, they're just so consistent. I never get runs. They hose the paint on. They're quite a fast gun. They take a bit of getting used to, but once you get used to them, I don't think I could spray with anything else now, or go back to anything else. These are the guns, and really good quality gun. There's actually a new model of this gun out, and I don't even want to change to that because I'm just so happy with the way these guns spray and the way they handle, and I just wouldn't change them. It'd need to be something really special, or someone would need to come in and demo something that was just so much better than this for me to actually change. They weren't cheap guns, but they're well worth it, and I'm a huge fan of them. And I've let other painters try them, and not everybody likes them, I get that, but there's something about it. This gun for me, I was always a DeVilbiss fan, and then I read up on these, and I watched a few different YouTube videos, and people were singing their praises, and I thought there must be something in this, I'll have a go with them. And I bought base coat gun, clear coat gun, and a dedicated 2K gun. So I've got 3 of them, and I'm really happy with them. So there you go, there's that 13 degrees on the booth. I'm showing you that just to show you that it can be done, as long as you take your time. 13 degrees is perfectly acceptable for spraying that, and there's that nice shiny door. All the dings, dents and all that are out of it. Definitely looks the part. Still got that sort of factory peel to it, which is what you want. You're trying to recreate exactly how the car left the factory. Yep, happy with that. You can see my reflection in it. Yep, looks the part. Happy with that. On to the next stage. So here's the car. It's all the primer repairs now are blocked down. It's all sanded. There's that shiny wing fitted. I think it's just a trial fit at this stage. You can see I've been blocking that bit round the arch, and that's just a bit of black guide coat on there where I was blocking it. And I think I put that on there just to make it shiny so that I could see that it was all perfect. And if you remember back to how the state this was in, it actually came out quite good. So that's us all. We're in the booth with the car now. We're all masked up, and we're ready for 2 or 3 coats of the Pro Spray Direct Gloss onto the car. Wet the floor. I always wet the floor. It keeps a bit of the dust down. Not everybody does that, and probably I don't need to do it. Sometimes you take the risk of splashing water up onto the job, but it's something I've always done, and maybe I should stop doing it, I don't know, but I started painting my dad's garage, which wasn't the best of conditions, so and I always used to wet the floor in there, and it's just a habit that's stuck. So on with the first coat here. Now you might notice that I don't take the paint all the way up to the quarter glass window, and the reason for that is the quarter glass, the paint's undamaged round about that, so I don't want big crazy high build of paint, 3 coats all around that window rubber, which we've all been to see cars that we're buying, and you see that sort of big mad build that you can never get rid of. The only way to really do it properly is to take the glass out, but we've not got the budget for that, so I take the colour up to the natural swage line with the first 2 coats, focusing on getting the sills all painted and the repair area painted and inside the check painted, and it's not to the third coat that I take it up and round that window, so that there's only one coat of paint round about that window, so there's not that big horrible build, and then we can just unmask it, and it just looks like it's like you've never painted it. So there's a good wee tip for you. If you don't need to paint it, only put that one coat on round the window rubbers so that it's nice and shiny, but it's not got a big massive build, because that just looks horrible. So getting down low and getting paint onto that sill, I always find this bit quite difficult. The car sits quite low for getting down with the gun and getting it at the right angle. None of us are getting any younger, and I always find this bit a bit sore on the back, trying to get the paint onto the bottoms of the sills and the bottoms of the doors and stuff. So I'm always make sure that there's nothing worse than putting a car on the ramp and then the bottom of the sills and stuff all looks dry and horrible. So I always try to make sure that there's enough paint, but it's always risky because you can't really see down as low as that. Sorry for the camera angle here, it's just because I'm bending down. I hope it's okay to remind you at this point, please like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and by the way, leave your comments in the comment section, and I like hearing all the comments, and I reply to every single one, good and bad, and I like learning, so any tips or tricks or anything you know, and or you're watching this saying this guy's an absolute clown, why has he done that, why is he doing this, he should do it this way, then let me know, and that's the way I learn, and we can only improve. Every day's a school day, as they say, so get those comments coming in. I really appreciate you taking the time to do that. So just laying the paint on just that little bit heavier at this stage, and then thinking at this stage of putting a coat round about that window. You see at this point there's no paint round about the window, and then we just take that final coat up and round and make the whole thing shiny and complete, without that big crazy build round the window rubber. Don't do that, because that just looks horrible. And there's something about those Fiat window rubbers, they're really quite stiff and hard, so that you can't, there's certain products that 3M do where you can pull the rubber back, but they don't work on that Fiat window. The rubber's really stiff, so this is the only way to do it other than cutting the window out, which is a job in itself. You've got to cut it, they're bonded in, so you've got to cut them out and then rebond them back in. We're trying to do these cars and sell them at a reasonable price, so there's no budget for that. So this is the way I do it, and if you saw the car in the flesh, you would see there's no sort of paint on the rubber or sort of horrible build, so it worked out fine. So again, just catching the bottom of that quarter, making sure there's enough paint, and it's nice and shiny down there. I hate putting the car back on the ramp and then I notice that it's dry, so just putting a final sort of flash over the whole thing, making sure that there's no dry areas, and looking the part, and then here's a final sort of look at the car once it's painted, again looking nice and shiny. I'm really happy with that, and I've unmasked round about that window as well at this stage, so that there's no any paint bridge, so that when the paint dries you don't want the paint to bridge onto the masking and then tear. So I always try and unmask, take the masking round about the window off while the paint's still relatively wet, and then it saves that sort of risk of the paint bridging and tearing. Yep, happy with that. Dent looks good, the repair looks good. What's not to like? It's turned out well, that one. Again, the booth doesn't do this colour justice. It looks quite red, but it's more It is more pink in real life. Yep, looking good. So here we are, we're driving the car out the booth. I'm filming, Evelyn's driving, and just carefully taking out the booth into the daylight and getting a first look at that repair in the daylight. I'm always nervous at this stage because you run it out, it looks great in the booth, and then you run it out and you see a dent you've missed or a crease that you've missed, and then you're kicking yourself. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and I hate this stage. As you can see, I'm really looking at that quarter. Have I done a decent job? Is it all sort of wavy and horrible? It was quite an awkward repair, but I actually think it looks pretty good. Yep, happy with that. Evelyn just gently driving it between the two units, and at this point we get it back on the ramp and continue on with the build. So let me know what you think in the comments. And then there's that door. So at this stage we're just building up the inside of the door, putting the speaker and the wiring harness and all different things, and then that's the door fitted onto the car, all lined up. Colour match to the quarter, looks good, even though we painted them separately. Repair looks good, gap looks good, door looks good. Yep, quite happy. Car looks like new. Few little creases round about the door handle there, but the doors actually, that's how they look. That's how Fiat leave the factory from Fiat, so it's not for me to worry about. Check all nice and painted and shiny, no overspray on the rubbers. Door opening and closing as it should. Yeah, it's turned out okay. Good look along the door, looking for the dents and creases, but I'm not really seeing any. And then that's the front wing on, and all lined up and gapped. Again, match is really good, gap looks really good. Yep, still relatively happy with this repair, how it turned out. Fair bit of work in this one, to be fair, but you know, it's what we do. So if I'd stuck in at school, I wouldn't need to do this, but hey ho. And then that's the front bumper on, testing the lights, making sure everything's working. Front wings on, doors on, everything's lined up, mirrors on. Car looks great. Colour from the wing to the bonnet looks good. Front bumper looks good. Yep, happy with this. Turned out good. From memory, I think I robbed a coolant hose off of this car for another car, so we had to bleed the radiator again and put antifreeze in and all those sort of things. So this car's sitting running at this point, waiting on the fan kicking in. And then here's the figures. I think ultimately the hammer price in this car was £2,000. So to the door it was 2,624. Front wing was 58, headlamp 100, MOT, a valet. Grand total on it was 2,917. And if I were to get 4,495 for this car, which is 30% below retail, I would make a pre-tax profit of 1,577. And here's that final walk round of the car. I think you can see the colour a bit better out in the sort of daylight. It's all been valeted, built back up, MOT'd, ready to go. The only advisory on the MOT was that I had undersealed the back axle, but I do that with all Fiat 500s just to I clean them up and sort of all the sort of loose rust I remove, make sure they're solid, and then I coat them with underseal. Just to make sure that they give them a bit of longevity. My MOT tester always marks down that they've been coated with underseal. I think that's for people who underseal things trying to hide rust. That's certainly not what I do. Really just there to prolong the back axle rather than hide anything. All valeted, all looking good, spick and span. Yep, happy with this one. Again, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. I hope you found this one quite interesting, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.